The DJI Mavic Pro, the most popular consumer drone in the world. Can DJI top themselves? Well, my Mavic Air finally arrived. All right, DJI, what is this? Mavic Air, I'm really excited. I've heard a lot of good things about the Mavic Air. Just like many of you, I watched the announcement of the DJI Mavic Air back last Tuesday. Looked like he was having some trouble pulling all of those drones out of his pockets, partly because the Mavic Air doesn't have collapsible props, it just has collapsible arms. But I am excited to see what DJI has in store for us with the Mavic Air. So, let's open this thing up. Wow, nice. It looks sharp. Honestly, when I first saw those leaked images the day before it was announced, I was not impressed by the red. I did not like the red color of this particular drone, but the black and the white look pretty sharp to me. So the drone is facing this way, so we flip it over and flip out the rear legs and the front. I guess you can call them arms instead of legs, but anyway, there you go. So I instantly start thinking about the DJI Spark because this looks a lot like an oversized Spark. Looking at the size comparison here of the Air and the Pro, yes, definitely a lot smaller when folded up. Also a lot slimmer, profile's a lot shorter. Unfolded is when we really see the size difference. This is rather impressive. And you can imagine how the props are spinning. It kind of makes the drones even wider. So I'm gonna get a quick measuring tape. Looks like we got about 22 inches here from tip to tip on the props on the Mavic Pro. And on the Mavic Air, it looks like we're just shy of 14 inches. Now, even though the Mavic Air is so much smaller than the Mavic Pro, it actually goes faster. According to the thing, in sport mode, 42.5 miles per hour. At the expense, perhaps, of less flight time. This does not have a very long flight time in comparison to the Mavic Pro. So if you're looking for flight time, and that's a really important thing for you, or perhaps distance to be covered, then maybe the Mavic Pro or Mavic Pro Platinum is still one of your better choices. But hey, Mavic Air seems to be holding its own. Let's examine this drone a little more. So we have our front-facing sensors there, bottom-facing sensors here, and rear-facing sensors. We did not have that with the Mavic Pro, so we have more sensor coverage with the Mavic Air, which is awesome. This is the gimbal cover, kind of a hinged gimbal cover. I don't know how this... it slides out. So it pulls out and then it slides out. Interesting. I do like that it kind of has its own landing gear. Hey, sweet. And here's our camera. So we have our 1-axis, our 2-axis, and our 3-axis gimbal. Gonna get us some really nice, stable shots, hopefully. Again, the Mavic Pro has that same gimbal type, 3-axis, but the Spark only had a 2-axis gimbal. So this is definitely an upgrade from the Spark. Looks like you can control this with Wi-Fi, but we're not going to. But if you did not have the controller or didn't care to bring it along with you, you could use the Wi-Fi, and here's your connection credentials there. By the way, for us US people, we gotta weigh this thing. Yep, gotta register with the FAA. I'm recording this on January 31st, 2018, so at the time of recording, buying the Mavic Air with the controller, the one battery, basically the standard package, is $799 US. But if you want to go with the Fly More combo, which gives you 2 extra batteries, more props, what else does it give you? The 4-battery hub and this pretty cool shoulder bag here. That all comes to, at the current time of making this video, $999 US. Now, whether you go with the Fly More combo or not, you are going to get this pretty awesome little drone case here. Kind of soft, but it does have the rigidity that you're looking for to protect this thing. Plus, you get the prop guards. I don't think I even used the prop guards when I got the DJI Spark. I probably won't end up using these, but it's nice to have them. And with a drone this small, with prop guards, you could probably fly this indoors. Real estate videography, other types of things indoors might actually help out, who knows? Also, it gives us our DJI Care Refresh reminder. So if you want to get DJI Care Refresh, you got to get it within 48 hours of activating this thing for the first time in order to be able to take advantage of some of those cheap replacement processes that DJI Care Refresh offers. So some different short cords for the controller, silica gel. Oh, here's our little thumbsticks. and our USB-C to micro USB adapter, which is nice because this is able to use micro USB on the drone. The drone itself has a micro USB port that you can then connect to the computer for updating firmware or connecting to the DJI Assistant or reading your SD card directly from the drone itself. It's up to you. We have our extra props, which is very important. Glad we have them. And then we also have our USB 3.0 to USB-C. Nice to see that DJI is slowly transitioning into USB-C, which is hopefully going to be something that's a little more universal in the coming months/years. We have our controller here. Looks very similar, almost exact to the DJI Spark controller. It's different from the Mavic controller because there is no LCD readout here, as you can see. But regardless, looks very similar otherwise. And then we're going to attach our little thumbsticks right into here. They screw on. So that's nice for storing or traveling with this, putting it into a bag or something. You're not going to worry about those little joysticks, those thumbsticks getting broken off or something like that. At the risk of maybe losing them, one thing I use on my Mavic controller is this little $5, $10 little brace that kind of keeps those thumbsticks nice and protected. So that could be something that we use with our Mavic Air. I'm not really sure, but this is a good comparison, by the way, to see what the two controllers look like. On the back, they look pretty much the same, but the Mavic Air controller does not have the right index finger dial like the Mavic Pro does. Instead, it just has this little button. As with the Mavic Pro controller, we have this little micro USB connection right there that we can then use one of these short little cables to connect to our phone or our tablet or whatever fits inside of the drone arms as they kind of swing out. I took that sticker off, and now opening up the controller, yeah, we see that we have more thumbsticks. So if we just, since we saw other thumbsticks in that little plastic bag, that means that we have 2 extra thumbsticks, which is nice. We have our USB regular size right there, and we have our micro USB on the side. Now, since the drone has a USB-C port there, the controller only has a micro USB port there. So we have to use their adapter that they give us. That is a USB-C to micro USB adapter just to charge the controller. That's kind of weird. Why would they do that? Why couldn't they just have a USB-C port on the controller instead of having to use an adapter for their own cord that they give you to charge this thing? That's kind of weird. I've seen less clunky ways of charging things. Now, if you had a USB-C port on a charger and you could then plug that end in, you could probably then charge your Mavic Air controller with the underside USB regular port right there. That's something you could do. I guess maybe that's their rationale. Who knows? As stated earlier, this is the Fly More combo, so we do get couple more perks charging wise. We have 2 extra batteries in addition to the one that's inside of the drone already. There is one that ships right there. We have our power supply here, but the difference with the Fly More combo is we have this 4 battery, how's it open? Oh, there it is. The 4 battery charging hub. You can connect 4 batteries in here. Now, it does not charge 4 batteries at once. It charges 1 and the next in succession. Now, as I get the charger ready here, I do want to say that one of my favorite things that I read about the Mavic Air is that it records at 100 megabits per second. The Mavic Pro only records at 60 megabits per second. And I think that might have been some of the issue with some of that sharpness that just looked really nasty with the Mavic Pro. Kind of a sandpapery quality that kind of had this strange, like, refresh every 6 or 7 frames. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I'm going to use this particular micro SD card. This is the SanDisk Extreme 64 gigabyte micro SD card. I use it for the Mavic Pro, the Phantom 4 Pro, and any other drone that has required a micro SD card. So here's what the charging setup is going to look like. You got your 3 batteries here. You have your controller here with your micro USB to USB-C adapter right there. And then the little AC adapter right there has an extra USB port. So this could be charging your phone or your tablet or whatever you're using as a display device for your drone right here. So here's the gimbal in action. You can see that there's our first axis, there's our second axis, and there is our third axis. All right, so I did a few calibrations, namely the compass, the gimbal, and the IMU, plus I made sure that the firmware is up to date, and I'll probably go through all of those different things in a beginner's guide video to this particular drone later on, but for now, I'll just get to the flying part. Let's launch this thing. The movement of this is really smooth. Panning left to right, moving the gimbal up and down. Everything seems to be really smooth. It's hard to say right now if the footage looks good because it's such a small screen. I'm using an iPhone 7 Plus, but it looks fantastic. The colorization looks great. I'll say this right now, it's not the quietest drone in the world. It's got a lot of buzzing. We're at about 230 feet right now, and it's kind of buzzing a lot, actually. I'm kind of surprised. I thought it would be maybe a little bit quieter. Now we are getting some high wind velocity warnings. Doesn't seem to be a big issue here, but it is happening. Okay, so the sensors work. It knows I'm here. That's nice. So there it is. Sensors are working, that's good. Looks like it's holding pretty steady with the wind. I mean, the drone is bobbing around a little bit, but if you look at the image, it's actually a pretty still image. That's great. Right now, all we pretty much have to control exposure is ISO and shutter speed. In the future, we'll be getting some filters for this thing, like ND filters, where we can kind of control that a little bit better. I do like that this seems to be a crossover between the Mavic Pro and the Spark. It's got the camera of the Mavic Pro, essentially, but it has some of those gesture modes and kind of interesting intelligent flight modes of the Spark. So let's try some of those out, see what we have in store. One thing I nearly forgot about is that this drone also has 8 gigabytes of internal storage. Totally forgot. So I've been actually recording on the internal storage and I filled it up, and I wasn't even recording on the SD card. So if you don't have an SD card, you can at least get a couple shots in. That's pretty cool. heading home. That's about it. I'm impressed by the Mavic Air. I almost said Pro. Because of its price, cheaper than the Mavic Pro, it can actually do some more things with the video. 1080 at 120 frames per second, shooting 4K at 100 megabits per second. A couple of those things the Mavic Pro just can't do. Now, there are things like, of course, there's trade-off with the battery life and things like that. But honestly, I was out there doing a lot of things, and I don't know, I felt like I was out there for a while. I didn't feel like I needed more battery to accomplish what I wanted to do today. So 3 batteries with the Fly More combo, $9.99. It's goodbye. Check the video description for a link to the Mavic Air as well as the Fly More combo. I do get a small commission from DJI for all the sales that go through that link. Helps me to continue with this YouTube channel, and I do appreciate it. So thanks so much for watching, and happy flying. By the way, just a little tip here. This is the Rav Power 27,000 milliamp hour AC portable charger that I reviewed last year. Well, check this out. Charging.